Thanks for joining me on my channel today. Today I want to show you the tree stand that I'm going to be using for this 2022 deer season, Lord willing. I've pretty much switched like everything that I would normally be using for hunting this year. Some by design, some, and quite frankly a lot of it just kind of worked out that way. But of all the things that I have switched out, this is the one that I'm most excited about, and it is the Beast tree stand that Dan Infalt makes. I've heard a lot of things about it. I've done a lot of research on it, and there was reasons, which again I'll tell you in a second, why the saddle that I've used for the last 3 years, I kind of wanted to make a change. I enjoyed saddle hunting. It was a lot of fun. I could enjoy it now, and quite frankly I'll probably end up getting another saddle in the future just so I have that as an option. But last year exclusively when I was up in a tree, and actually the last 3 years exclusively when I was up in a tree, I was using a tree saddle. And I decided after this season that I wanted to get the Dan Infalt Beast stand, and so that's what I did. Now they're not cheap. I believe it is $625 plus shipping when you purchase it, and I just can't go out and spend $625 plus shipping. So I ended up selling my saddle, my entire saddle setup actually, my sticks, my saddle, everything that came with it. That's how I was able to afford to buy this. I think out the door, and I got this on sale for $600, but out the door when everything was all said and done, shipping and the whole bit, I paid $661 for it. I think that it's going to be worth it. But that is a chunk of change if you're looking to get into a tree stand. I don't know that there's any other portable tree stand out there that costs that much. I know Lone Wolf has one, I think that's around $600, and some of them that are $500, things like that. But this one is the most expensive that I've seen, but it does come with a reputation when you're talking about Dan Infalt. And so seeing the success he's had and how he does hunting, I've tried to mimic a lot of my hunting here in Michigan around how he does it. And so I just felt that this year I wanted to switch back to a portable stand, and as a result I've got new sticks, I've got a new stand, I've got a new backpack. Of course I'm going from a tethered to a safety harness, got a new bow. It's an entirely different setup, but again, this is the one I'm most excited about. So I'm going to put it on the tree, and I'm going to show you some of the features that that it has: widths, lengths, the weight. I'll show you the weight. Super light stand. I don't know if it's the lightest one on the market, but it's got to be right about there. I know Lone Wolf has one that's super light, but as I'm holding this, I mean, you can hold it all day, which is a good thing considering when you're standing up, or climbing up a tree. You pull this off to hang it, you don't want to be sitting there, holding 10, 12 pounds. This is definitely not that. So let's get it on the tree and take a look at it. I'll say right off the bat, actually, this is the strap that it came with. There's nothing wrong with the strap. All I would say is when I was playing around with it, this buckle right here, this stand grabs to the tree big time. I mean, it's like you can take it off, kind of like the Skeletor sticks. You can take off your strap and it'll still sit to the tree, which is saying something considering the whole stand's hanging down off the tree. But as a result of that, what I found was when I was trying to loosen the buckle to get it off the tree, this was really tight and sticking really hard, and it was hard to press. You could do it, and I worked with it a little bit and got it, but I thought, you know what, I've got a lot of extra straps that I can use. So I have this strap here. This might be a Lone Wolf strap. Honestly I don't know because I got it a while ago, but I've already put stealth strips on there, and it has a little bit bigger buckle, and so it gives it a little bit more leverage when you try to loosen it, and just makes it a little bit easier. Again, nothing wrong with that strap. I think this one's probably just a little bit better though, as far as, again, trying to loosen it. So that's what I'm going to go with. I have lots of them, so there's no reason not to, upgrade if it's convenient. So that's what I did. For me personally, I like, actually, and I did this even with my platform, but I like the buckle down here, because if you need to for some reason, you can swing it around the tree. It has a little bit of weight, and you can swing it. This one though, because it's so light, you can actually reach around the tree. I remember using portable tree stands, you know, 10, 12, 13 pounds, and you're trying to reach around the tree and, you know, get your buckle, and it can get pretty tiring. But with this, literally, I mean, it's so light. It's just, it's crazy. It's just so light. You know, you can just reach right around the tree. You don't drop that. You do have to be careful, obviously, with the buckle. If it's you let go of it, you know, it could swing around and maybe hit a stick or something like that. You don't want to do that. So just get it on the tree, get it tight. I push down as far as I can, which I'll do that again when I get in it. Then I just cam it over like that. The other thing, let me say right off the bat, is they come with 2 straps, as basically most every tree stand does come with carrying straps. But honestly, they're not the most expensive straps in the world, so I have got my own straps that I'm going to be using, and carrying it was super comfortable with the straps that I have. But I know a lot of people complained about the straps that come with it. You pay $625 and you get, you know, pretty basic straps. A lot of people weren't happy. To me, it wasn't that big of a deal. Again, I've been hunting long enough now where I have extras of everything. So if for me, it just was switch out the straps and put nice ones on there, which is what I did. So anyway, I did change out the straps. So I changed out the buckle, changed out the straps. Those are the only 2 things that have changed on this. One of the things you can do, actually, if you go to Stealth Strip Outdoors or stealthstrip.com, Lou has a kit where basically you can stealth strip the whole tree stand and you know, help quiet it down a little bit. I was going to do that, but honestly, I'm not sure I'm going to do that now. I kind of want to use the tree stand as is. I might maybe later, but for now, I just kind of want to use it as is and see how it works. This tree stand is super light, certainly in comparison to most of them that are out there, and definitely the older ones that I used to use. And as a result of that, though, there are, you know, certain changes you have to make in the stand, or you're not going to get that. And one of the first things you'll notice is actually how thick the stand is. If you look, it's only 5/8 of an inch thick, so it's not really a thick platform, and yet it's not really necessary. The way that it's cut with a water jet is one piece of a platform. You don't need to have it super thick, but that is one way that they helped cut down on the weight. The other thing you'll notice on the front of it is some of the cross pieces are not there. Again, just little things that help cut down on the weight. The weight limit on this is 275. I'm basically right at 200. Some days I'm a little bit above, and hopefully some days I'm a little bit below, and hopefully getting lower. But for me, I'm not really concerned about you know, the 275-pound weight rating, because I've got plenty to spare, which I hope to never get there. What it comes with is a foam pad, which I believe is like 1.25 inches thick. I've sat in this, not tons, but I've sat in it and just sat there for a little bit, and honestly, super comfortable to me. I have no complaint with it. You Velcro it on in 4 spots, and it sits on there just fine. I know you can get on a website and actually order a more expensive seat that's got a cover on it, apparently better than this. I've seen some people actually stealth strip this piece of foam pad to, I don't know, make it quieter or camouflage it, whatever. People are camouflaging everything nowadays because they feel like they have to, or they just enjoy doing it, which there's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, I've sat on the foam seat and it's perfectly comfortable. The other thing you'll notice on this stand is that the seat has an adjustment here, a screw, that you can adjust the height of the seat. Again, if your tree's angled one way or the other, that gives you some flexibility so you don't feel like you're about ready to fall off the seat. But right there, I've angled it down a little bit, but you can screw it in and get it back to where you want it. But screw it in and get it back there. You know, it's got actually quite a bit of play. I mean, you could really adjust it quite a bit. And there's a metal plate that I've stealth stripped, but there's a metal plate down here that bolt will actually hit, and that's what adjusts the height. This is indented, and I can show you that's indented, but I got stealth strips, like I said, over it. The other thing is the standoff. You'll notice is the way it bites to the tree. I'll show you real quick, although I'll have to reset it after, but right now I have the strap completely loose, and yet it's attached to the tree, even with the platform, you know, cantilevering off the tree. But it shows how well these teeth bite into the tree. Now, I obviously would never encourage somebody to stand on there without the strap, and I would hope somebody wouldn't be so stupid to do that. But the point is just show how well it does grab to the tree. Obviously, this is probably a little softer bark than some trees, so you might not get a maple tree to be able to do that, but it still bites pretty well into the tree. Let me tighten this. The nice thing about this is you'll see is it has, the way the teeth are on the standoff, it's actually made so you can get in some real small trees, and yet it'll still grab and it'll still feel secure, and it's not going to slide around the tree because the way that these teeth will bite into it. You'll also notice here they have another spot to put another buckle around the bottom of the tree. I probably won't ever use that. One of the complaints I've seen a few people comment about is the play on the outside of the stand. If you can see, I'm standing on the far outside of the stand. It has a little bit of play to it, and for some people that's a bit of a concern. For me, it's not. I mean, typically, for one, you know, I don't ever stand out here on the you know, corner of this. Now there is some play for sure, you know, but it's not terrible. And again, you know, most of the time I'm hunting, my feet are going to be somewhere in here, you know, and if you need to move, again, I'm not going to be adjusting my feet all the way out here. When I sit down, you know, that's basically the closest my feet get to the edge of the you know, edge of the stand, and plenty of room. It's 16 inches wide, so plenty of room for your boots. You know, I don't feel like I'm tight together. I've got plenty of space, and I also don't feel like I'm hanging over. Like my climber, when I'm in my climber, my feet actually sit about like this, which I basically don't ever use a climber anymore, but my feet are sitting, you know, over the stand a little bit. When I stand up, I got to move them back. This one here, my feet aren't tucked in real tight, and yet they're still all on the entire stand because of how big the stand is. So again, it's 16 inches wide. From the tree trunk, at least in this case, to the edge of the stand is around 27 inches. If you go all the way from the back of the bottom standoff to the front of the stand, you're talking around 29 inches. So it's a decent stand. It's longer and yet a little more narrow. But I mean, you can see me, you know, moving around the stand. I don't, you know, nothing else. I don't feel like anything's giving aside from that end when I stand on there. And honestly, if you look real closely at the cable, you know, it's the cables that are just, they're tightening up a little bit more on the end. But, you know, I'm bouncing on it. Not going to jump up and down on it, but I am bouncing on it, and it's holding just fine. Nothing wrong with it. Now, if I was 260, that might be a little bit of a concern, or 270, or, you know, whatever. Just sitting on the seat, I think it feels perfectly comfortable. No issues with it at all. I sit in anything, you know, my saddle, I sat in, you know, even in a saddle, I never was in a saddle where I wasn't 100% comfortable, you know, for the entire time. I always had to make adjustments and would stand up, sit down sometimes, and you know, make the adjustments that you needed to. So here's one of the big reasons that I switched from a saddle back to a portable tree stand. In 2018, first I bought a sit drag, modified it to make it work, and then I ended up buying a tethered mantis, and I liked it. Then I ended up, from my friend's recommendation, Mad Hunts Adventures, check him out on YouTube. He's got a great channel, and if you're into saddle hunting, he is the guy to watch because he has reviews on basically every saddle on the market. But under his recommendation back in, I think, 2019 or maybe 2020, I don't remember exactly. Anyway, he told me that I should get a Cruiser XC, so I did. I got the Cruiser XC, and I liked it. I did one all-day sit in it. You know, it was a long sit, but sitting all day in anything is a long sit. But I liked it. But last year I was hunting here in Michigan. Anybody who saddle hunts know that basically, obviously, you've got your tether attached to the tree, and so you're facing the tree. So your strong shots are going to be to whatever, you know, I'm right-handed, so my strong shot is going to be to my left, and even behind me, that's kind of my strong shot to turn around and to shoot. So when I set up my saddle, I was setting it for my strong side to be obviously to my left, but also kind of, you know, directly behind my back. So if I had to turn around and shoot, you know, it's easy to pull that way. The problem with that was that I had been sitting there looking around my spot and, you know, hadn't seen anything all morning for that matter. And I just happened to turn around and was facing the tree. And I was facing the tree kind of looking this way for a second, which is really kind of your weak side, because yes, you can get around the tree entirely, but you can't, you know, you still got to maneuver to get around the tree. The plus side of saddle hunting is technically you can use that to shield you, but you know, it's not, you still got to get around it if you're going to make a shot with something on the other side of the tree. So I'm sitting there facing the tree, and I just happened to turn around and look, and by the time I turned around and looked, behind me, which again is my strong side for shooting, a big buck, probably a 130 class 8 point, which for me is, I shoot all day every day. He was already well into my space, and he was cruising for does. And as a result of, you know, seeing that, I had to grab my bow, and you had to make a bunch of movement. By the time I turned around to try to get ready for him, it just was too late. He had already gone through a shooting lane. I grunted at him and all sorts of stuff, and he didn't come in. Had I been facing a way that the strong, you know, I'm facing the strong side of my shot and not facing the tree, I would have seen him much sooner and probably gotten ready. And there was a shooting lane that he came through at 30 to 35 yards. I may have very well gotten a shot off at him. As a result of that, again, I don't hate tree saddles. I'll probably buy one in the future, so I have it as an option. But I just thought, you know what? I want to be facing the strong side, the area that I'm going to be shooting. I want to be facing so I can scan without having to turn and that type of thing. Now, the problem that portable stands you can have with that is, and in Michigan this happens a lot, is you get spotted. You know, deer will look up at you and they'll see you. I don't think that'll be a huge ordeal for me because I get pretty high already. You know, I'm somewhere, usually the base of my, well, in this case, my tree stand will be somewhere between 22 to 25 feet up. By the time a deer looks up at me in that situation, if they're going to see me, I already hope my bow's drawn back, and basically the moment they stop, I can release an arrow. I don't want to be having to turn around for my, you know, my strong side to be seeing, you know, the deer coming. So I just, you know, I've been seeing Dan with his tree stands and again hunting in swamps and stuff like that. I thought, you know what, I'm going to get a tree stand, and I'm going to hunt from a tree stand. So to purchase this one, like I said, I had to sell my saddle setup, so this is what I'm hunting from this year. But I just like the fact that really my strongest spots I can see, and then of course easily shoot. And I'll say this about saddle hunting that, you know, a lot of people don't really mention. In my opinion, again, if you're going to shoot specifically on your strong side, you know, which is for me is, you know, anywhere from here to about there behind me, to get to that position when a deer's coming, you have to do, from my perspective, you have to do a lot more movement to get into position than I would have to for this, you know, for a tree stand. Obviously, if a deer comes here, anywhere, all I'm doing is rotating my body. You know, when you're in your platform, sitting in a tree saddle, you've got to lean around the tree. You've got to sometimes lift your bow over your tether and stuff like that. And again, I sound like I'm knocking tree saddle hunting, but I'm not. I like tree saddle hunting, but there are some things about it that I don't think any setup is 100%. I think some of them are harder, some of them are easier. I think all of them have some pros, all of them have some cons, and the con of saddle hunting last year probably, you know, let me say it this way, very possibly cost me a big buck, and I don't want that to happen again. So, you know, if a deer comes in behind me in this situation, you adjust and make do with, you know, the situation you're dealt. But I'm going to be setting up this stand in most cases so that all of my strong shots that I can take by simple rotation is on the front of my stand. And for me, this year, out of all the things, I'm most excited of using that for all the reasons that I stated. I feel like with this stand, I feel like I've gotten what I've paid for, and I'm super excited this fall to use it. If you're in the market for looking for a portable tree stand, there are several options out there, but I think that the Beast stand from Dan Infalt is a very, very good option, and you're going to pay a lot, but it's going to be something that, you know, again, you're going to use probably, hopefully for years. I would expect for years. And I'll say this about the price too. I calculated all the stuff with saddle hunting that I used. So, you know, a couple ropeman ones, tethers, lineman's belts, and obviously the saddle, the platform. I did include the sticks because I have sticks that I'm going to be using for this as well. But just the saddle equipment, pouches for your saddle, carabiners. I added all that up, and if I were to have to buy all that stuff new for my personal setup that I had, it was like $850. So it's not like you're saving a bunch of money when it comes to saddle hunting. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate all the support that the subscribers have given me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you like the content that I put out from hunting to reviews, I would suggest maybe subscribing to my channel so you don't miss out on future videos that are coming up for, again, both hunting and reviews. But thanks again. Give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next video.